Bravo.
50 years today.
Should we have gone to Hawaii instead of doing all this?
Ask me in about 4 hours. Anyway, it's been interesting.
No, it's fun. It's fun. We're having a good time. We invited a lot of good friends.
50 years is a milestone that most people will never realize.
I don't.
What does it? How did you get here?
Yeah, I don't believe we're even 50 years old yet. You know, I don't know how this happened.
Yeah, just one foot in front of the other, you know, lack of imagination.
Any words of wisdom
That's a good
about
one.
how to make a marriage survive for 50 years?
Words of wisdom.
He's very stubborn. Yeah, you've got to want it, really. You both really got to want it, because it's hard work. A lot of the times it's hard work. But the thing is, too, the longer you're together, I think the easier to get. The easier it gets. You know?
Really?
Yeah. The easier it gets. You start kind of laughing at each other instead of getting angry. That helps. What words of wisdom would you
What words
pass
of
on
wisdom?
to other people?
To anybody who's contemplating marriage,
Yeah. Good.
Do it early.
do it early,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was only, what, 12? And you were 19?
I had just turned 20, and you were 20-something.
22.
22.
And that was in 1960.
1960.
And then married 2 years later?
62,
Yeah,
correct?
62. At that time, that was not a young age to get married. Today it's very young, but today I think it's probably 30 or something like that. 30, in the mid-30s. But in those days, it was time to get married, you know? It's just my opinion, but I think sometimes maybe it's harder to adapt to each other if you're so set in your ways. You kind of get a chance to grow up together, you know? And that's nothing wrong with that.
Took a long time to break me in.
Anyway, we can leave that alone.
Okay. Well, my perspective is different. Edith said it's hard, you got to work at it. I've had a great time. I mean, you know, there's been moments, but literally only moments where it was less than euphoric. But most of it has been like fantastic. And people, I find it very bizarre that people sort of congratulate me as if I've achieved some great, you know, moment or something. And actually, it was great all the way.
I think too is the example that is all around you. I mean, it seems like it's such a fashion. Everybody gets married and divorced and married. But in the time that we were married, marriages tended to last a bit longer, and that was expected. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were kind of open to each other's ideas, and it was an adventure, you know, which we enjoyed. Still an adventure.
I never really thought outside the box, you know. I never really thought, is this worth it? You know, should I stay in this relationship? Should I stay married? It just never occurred to me. That's what I committed to do, and that's what I was going to do. And, I never had to do that equation, you know, the balancing of like, well, you know, would it be better with someone else or would it be better outside? I just didn't think about that.
On this very day, this 50th anniversary of your marriage, what would you like to say to your wife of 50 years?
I'd like to say,
Anything that you want to say on camera?
on camera. Let me finish my own sentences.
That is a bad habit of mine. My mind is going, you know, much faster than his mouth. You know?
But that's a result of familiarity. Is it not?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me?
Well, I would like to continue the adventure. It started off as a big adventure, and it continues as an adventure. And I think I get very excited when he says, "You know, I've been thinking. I've got an idea," and that really gets my attention. I like that. I like that. It's always something different and unique. He'll wake me up in the one morning and say, "Why don't we go to skiing? I've never skied before." that was one of the early requests.
Why don't we go where?
Skiing.
Skiing, yeah. That was...
Why don't we go do something I've never done before? You know.
Why don't we go to Ramallah?
Ramallah. That was one morning. Yeah.
Wow.
That was interesting.
What was it?
And you know, it's been quite a trip. But it's never been dull. It's never been boring. And that's important.
I think that's probably the last thing people would say about marriage is that it's boring.
No, it's not boring. It doesn't have to be boring, you know. Well, we're very excited and we're glad we married each other. I think I'd marry him again. I would marry him again.
Yeah, I would.
That's very telling right there.
Yeah, we'd do it again. One thing I should say is the things that drive you crazy about your partner for quite a long time. If you wait long enough, you find that they start to be charming. All the things that drove you mad at one time can become charming later. I don't know if he agrees with that or not, but
You've got a lovely party in the making here, so
yeah.
congratulations.
I don't think it's raining.
It's not raining.
Don't say that
That's
word.
a miracle. That's a miracle.
Say that word.
Yeah.
And have a lovely time.
Thank you very
And
much,
thank
Gary.
you for coming to do this.
My
dear.
pleasure.
Congratulations.
You guys.
You guys. Congratulations. Sorry.
You guys.
All right.
Congratulations,
3,
you guys.
2, 1.
Congratulations,
Congratulations!
you guys.
Yay!
You guys.
So what do you think of 50 years?
That's a long time.
That's really long.
Is a long time.
But lots of happy memories.
Yeah.
How long have you folks been married now?
We're at 12.
You're at 12.
So we'll have our 50th wedding anniversary in 2050. I don't know when you want to start planning, but obviously these things take a while. We had to plan this for a few weeks.
It's up to you.
You guys are planning it.
Exactly, and make it good.
We'll try.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have a happy memory?
Probably all the times that you came out down to the park and played soccer, kickball, baseball.
Right.
Not everyone knows that Granny Sims is a very good floor hockey, road hockey player.
Right. Good. Good.
She's a lady of many talents.
Also the person of making up new kinds of things and sometimes not really always knowing why, but just for the fun of it, makes really good stuff.
Very
Lots
cool.
of happy memories of barbecues in the summer. Those are my favorite. Peter, you got any? How about when you used to go to the studio
Alright!
on Wednesdays? It was you had them all to yourself on Wednesday afternoons for a while there.
And it's been a wonderful thing for me to marry into a family where music is such a special part
Right.
of all family celebrations. So we're very lucky that Granny and Grandpa have now brought music to the Teal side of the family as well. So we
Yeah.
can celebrate together as an extended family.
The boys now play piano and they're going to play 2 songs later
Each
tonight
of
as
us
well.
are gonna play one. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to play one. He's going to play one.
One more time as a group.
All right.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. All right. 1, 2, 3. Happy anniversary.
Excellent.
All right.
Please come and have some.
You were able to get through, Anne?
Hello, Michael and Edith. Congratulations and Mazel Tov. You know who I am. Of course you know who I am. We go back, wow, for most of the 33 years that Lolita and I have been in Canada. But for those of your friends, family looking at this who don't know me, my name's Jack. And I'm here to toast you, Edith and Michael, as Lolita is out in your patio dancing to the strains, hardly strains, of the Beatles. And she's camera shy. I'm camera foolhardy. And this is just to wish the two of you, 2 wonderful friends, wonderful musicians, wonderful hosts, a marvelous, wondrous next 50 years. I have just seen the video of you. 1962 was a fabulous year. And what a time you had in Toronto, Ottawa, Quebec City. How glam you looked. Glam. And I'm not going to say unbelievable because it's perfectly believable because you're as glamorous today as you were then. To the 2 of you, all the very best. Good luck. We're going to have a fabulous party and I'm looking forward, Michael, to your singing Vancouver, Vancouver, the place I want to be to you. Cheers, Mazel Tov.
L'chaim Chamudim. It's hard to believe, Edith, that it's 54 years since we first met on that ship to Jerusalem, with you with your big hat and high heels, and me in my blue shirt with the white for purity string. But thanks to Rivi, we became very, very close friends and celebrated 4 years ago, 50 years of friendship. And Edith, thank you for bringing Michael into my life. He's a dear and cherished friend. There's so many stories that I could tell today, funny and sad and warm and wonderful. And the one that comes to mind, of course, is that time that Yaakov and I came to get your approval, that I came with Yaakov to get your approval of this new man in my life. And we went to Cape Cod and all the philosophy that went on those logs on the beach, while Edith and I did our jumping jacks in the sand. But what I remember is what happened when we were ready to leave. We packed that old Glickmobile, and we were ready to leave, and you stood in the window and said, just stay a few days, just stay a few more days. Why can't you stay a few more days? And when you saw that it was futile, you said, just wait a minute. And when you came out next, you had your suitcases packed and you were coming to Toronto with us. Then I knew that you were really good friends and old friends, and I'm delighted that I could be here with you and the friends that you have met since to celebrate this wonderful occasions, and how rich and fortunate I am to meet your in-laws and Daniel and Patricia and Sam and Peter. Life just gets richer and better. Cheers to a long life and a good friendship.
I came into cheesecake when I was still in grade 11 or grade 12, 1980. And I used to come in and they would have a chessboard and a backgammon table and that sort of thing. And I came in with some people that I knew from high school, and they, we'd have a coffee and play chess all night. And it was great. And then about April of 1981, when I was in grade 12, I came in with two friends from high school, my friend Vince and my friend Erwin, and they had a busboy job posted, or they needed busboys. So both Erwin and I applied for the job to be busboys, and both got positions, and then the rest is history. The two of us went on a trip across Canada a couple months later, right after high school. We phoned Cheesecake from the ferry terminal in Charlottetown, or before you go to PEI, before they built the bridge. And came back, and this guy Toru from Japan was working here, and I was quite upset because everybody thought he was great now, and he was the big busboy, I worked on and off probably for about 4 or 5 years, something like that. Like I went to BCI high school, then BCIT, and then came back at one point and worked a little bit. I was, I think, the first guy that worked at Tigers. I was the first manager. I suggested they go non-smoking. I hold the record for unmolding cheesecakes, and I think that record still stands today. And so it's like there's a lot of cool memories here. The biggest thing is like Mike and Edith are the most amazing people. Like they've got over the years they've taken in the world here. They've hired people from all over the world. They've given them jobs. They've, launched people into careers. And I don't know two more special people than they are. And they're always surrounded by people who, are amazing. Like they do amazing things. Like the bass player tonight was just like, oh my God. Some of the singers are, oh my God. They just attract amazing people around them. So it's very cool. What I love about Edith, what I love about you, Edith, is your laugh. I love your laugh. What I love about Mike is when he gets mad on the squash court, because I beat him. Anyway, happy 50th? Happy 50th anniversary, Mike and Edith. Glad I could come over and celebrate with you, and look forward to your 75th.
Well, I'm not surprised at all that this day has arrived. They've had a very happy marriage these 50 years. How did they do it, you may ask? Well, I think I can answer this question because I've been a keen observer over the years, and I can give you a few pointers based on their own success. Here we go. 1, consistency is very important in a relationship. For example, make sure you have the same arguments over and over again. Don't change them. That's very disruptive. 2, an active lifestyle helps. By trying to wear out the other person all the time, you may actually be keeping them healthy, even if that's not your particular goal. 3, all right, you know what else is very important? Working together, especially at cross purposes. Or else you might actually finish whatever it was you were doing, and now it's over. And as we all know, it's the journey that counts, not the destination. All right, so I'm actually short a glass. Can I borrow?
Here, right here.
All right, oh, there's an extra here. Great. All right, here we go. Here we go. So now let's all raise a glass. Mom and Dad, many congratulations on finding each other, standing by each other, helping each other, and loving each other. To your 50th wedding anniversary, to Edith and Mike. Cheers.
Sorry, we met in 1960 in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I was introduced to him. A neighbor actually said he'd met this American guy and I should meet him, and I really wasn't that interested. I was 20 years old and I was really kind of fed up with men at that point. So I didn't really want to be meeting an American guy. I mean, my Canadian education taught me that Canada and Canadian education was so superior to anybody else. Anyway, I finally agreed to meet Mr. Michael SIMS, and as soon as I met him, it felt very different from any other man I had met. I felt I'd known him for a long, long time, and we started a conversation, which continues to this day. We laugh a lot, and it's just nice being with him.
You fell in love.
I did fall in love. 50 years later, and I'm still in love with him. And what can I say? Do you have anything to say?
Okay, that's the thing I wanted to do. Let's have some details here.
Details. We don't need that many details.
I have a microphone. What happened was Edith had. Well, I guess you fallen in love with Sue? No. You were dating this guy, it's a Bulgarian guy, and when she met coming over to Israel on the boat, and this had sort of fallen through, and so as fate would have it, the same guy, Stu, his name was my bass player. I was musical director of a show in Israel called Stam Yom Shel Chol, just a simple day. And we had piano, bass, and guitar, and we were on stage. And we were with this marvelous actor, Shimon Israeli. And he wrote this one-man show, and it was a big hit. We performed it for a whole year. Anyway, Stu was my bass player. And he had told me about this Canadian girl that he had met, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, well, it sounds very interesting. And he said, she already went back to Canada. I said, well, let's do that. And then this other guy says, I want you to meet this Canadian girl. Could it be the same Canadian girl? Well, Edith came by, and I said, well, I can get you tickets to the show. She said, great. So her and in Jewish, it's called a shadchan, which is a marriage broker. They came to the show. Now, Edith was also still not completely over Stu. She was so on the stage. I could notice that her eyes were flitting back and forth between him and me and him and I thought, well, I got to put a stop to this. So I looked over at her, and at the appropriate moment, I gave her a wink.
That is true.
And that was a very effective strategy. And the wink caused her to forget about Stu and concentrate on me. And the rest is history.
Thank you. It looks like about as dense as you can. This is probably right back there. You can make it.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, no maid to court an amorous looking glass. I, that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable the dogs bark at me as I halt by them. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I'm determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. It has been a hard day night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night, and I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do make me feel all right.
It's been a hard day night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day night, I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do will make me feel alright. You know I worked all day to get you money out of your bank, and it's worth it just to hear you say you're gonna give me everything. So I know should I go, 'cause when I get you alone, you know I feel okay. When I'm home, everything seems to be right. When I'm home, feeling you holding me tight, tight, yeah. It's been a hard day night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day night, I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do will make me feel alright. Take it, George, yeah. So why should I go? 'Cause when I get you alone, you know I feel alright. When I'm home, everything seems to be right. When I'm home, feeling you holding me tight, tight. It's been a hard day night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day night, I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do make me feel alright. You know I feel alright. You know I feel alright.
Everybody so far has probably said something nice about you. I'm not here to do that.